손님을 두고 왔어.
What's up, boys and girls? I just saw the Korean film A Taxi Driver, which is actually the 8th or 9th highest grossing Korean film of all time. I watched this film yesterday in a theater full of 10 Korean people, and 3 of them were nuns. Now, I cried through the entire third act of this film, and it wasn't just me. I heard sniffling through the entire theater. Now, I'm not a stranger to crying in movies, but this movie has so much heart, and the characters were so lovable from top to bottom. Not only that, but the score was beautiful, and you didn't even notice what it was doing to you emotionally until after you left the theater. Now, the movie is about the 1980 Gwangju massacre in South Korea, which was a pinnacle event in its history for its fight for democracy. In 1979, there was an assassination of then dictator Park Chung-hee, and that sparked hopes of democracy between the college and the youths of Korea. Unfortunately, General Chung Do-hwan took power and declared martial law in 1980. In Gwangju, protests spilled out of the universities and into the streets, and military used brute force to keep them down.
저기면 방송국 근처인데.
The Korean government wanted to keep all the foreign press out, but a German reporter by the name of Jürgen Hinspeter went to Korea with his video camera.
Are you reporter?
When he lands, he tells his contact in Korea that he needs a taxi to take him from Seoul to Gwangju. Now, Kim, who's the main protagonist of this film, is a single father who's struggling to make ends meet. He's a taxi driver, and when he hears that a foreigner is going to pay $900 just for one taxi ride, he decides to steal the fare from another taxi driver.
10만 원? 또 한국과 하루에 택시비를 10만 원이나 준대?
나이스 미츠 렛츠고 광주
Kim and Jurgen meet for the first time in Seoul, and their adventure begins as they dive into the heart of Gwangju, where there is incredible amount of death and violence, but also strength and heart from the citizens. This movie is based on true events, and the director Jang Hoon brings a sappy, feel-good story to a very tragic event. He does this by focusing on the 2 main characters, the reporter and the taxi driver who's helping the reporter get this news out to the rest of the world. This movie has an incredible amount of heart to it. All the characters are incredibly lovable.
뉴스요, 뉴스. 어째 이렇게 찬이 없어? 귀한 손님 왔는데.
That they are all inherently good. The director makes them all lovable because they symbolize the best side of humanity. Another thing that I really loved about this movie was the taxi driver character played by Song Kang-ho. Now, his character seems to be like the typical fat, old-fashioned, cheap, and at times despicable character that you see.
내 5천원만 받을게 됐지? 무기 비싸 자 3천만 받아
But as you watch and you get these little scenes that he's in, you start to realize that deep down he has a heart of gold. The early parts of the movie show him trying and struggling to take care of the cutest little daughter that he has and how much the death of his wife took from him. It's hard not to root for him. Not only that, but the character is actually very funny. He has some funny lines and some funny mannerisms, and Song Kang-ho plays it perfectly with his comedic timing.
광주 가는 새길 같은 건 없습니까? 거기가 어딥니까?
Now, when you pair Kim with these, like I said, lovable characters, his interactions with them, the way he jokes around with them, the happy moments that they have, and the struggle that they go through in the entire movie, it's really hard not to cry at certain times. I cried 5 or 6 times, like I said, through the third act. You might not cry, but it's a beautiful movie, and it just symbolizes and it shows the goodness that we can all be.
여기 걱정하지 마시고.
Now, the one thing I didn't like about this movie is that it is a drama movie, but there are times where it teeters on the edge of fantasy and it sometimes turns into a full-fledged action film. When the government finds out that Kim is harboring a foreigner that's trying to get the news out, they send out, evil government officials to go capture them. There could be a dramatic scene, but suddenly when the evil officials see Kim and Jurgen, it turns into like an action-adventure chase scene as they run through alleyways. Not only that, but there's even a car chase scene at the very end of the movie. The thing is, even with those chase scenes, and even though at times, like I said, it turns into an action-adventure flick, it's so good and you're so emotionally invested in the characters and the story that you don't care. You just want to see these characters live together and love each other and really just have a good time together. You're just so invested in their lives. Now, it is a sappy and perfect film. There's the ultimate evil of the government, and there's the absolute good of Kim and the Jurgen. But I don't really care. It's just a great, enjoyable film that you'll get, like I said, emotionally invested in, and you'll love every minute of it. So for my final review, I give it a 9 out of 10. If a movie can make me cry as much as that movie made me cry, I have to give it at least, that high of a score. There are some people who might not like how perfect it is. It kind of reminds me of, Remember the Titans, where it's a little too perfect and you read up on it and none of that stuff really happened. I don't want to read up on this film. I just want to love the characters for who they were. Even though they're slightly based on real life characters, I don't care. I love this film and I loved how it made me feel. And if you like films like that, feel-good films, sappy feel-good films, then you'll like this film. Well, this is Ken for the review of the Korean film A Taxi Driver. You guys need to go watch it. If you've seen it, comment below, tell me if you cried as much as I cried. But this is Black and Yellow Movies. If you like independent foreign film, please subscribe below and like us on Facebook. And I'll be back with another foreign or independent movie review. See ya.
대마요 대학간다.